Hey everyone, it's me, Arthur Kade, and tonight we're on the red carpet for the New York premiere of an incredible movie. It's called The Infiltrator, and we're chatting with the brilliant cast, including Bryan Cranston, Benjamin Bratt, John Leguizamo, and more, so get ready for a great night behind the velvet rope. From Dalton Trumbo to Lyndon B. Johnson to the guy who broke Pablo Escobar this year, man. What drew you to this story?
This is such a great story. The Infiltrator is about a very noble man who becomes a money launderer for the mob. And doing his job right, making friends with them, getting them to trust him. At the end of 2.5 years, that guy has to tell his friends, I'm not who you think I am, I'm a cop. And you're under arrest, and I'm going to send you to prison. Can you imagine that? I mean, just imagine, is there any other job that's like that? You know, it's bizarre when you think of it. And here's this guy who was Bob Musella, kind of a New York-y kind of guy working for the mob. And then when he went home, he was Bob Mazur, family man, father, husband. And for how he was able to reconcile those two roles is just amazing to me.
This movie is so gritty. Brad Furman did such a great job with it.
Yeah, he did.
He's such a good young director, isn't he?
He'd say he's terrific. This is the second time I've worked with Brad. Lincoln Lawyer was the first time, and I knew he was a great friend and a good filmmaker, and so it was easy when I read the script that this is what I wanted to do.
Brad Furman, I've known that dude a long time. Quite a director. You were in his first film, man.
I was. The Take, man, back in the day. Hit Tyrese, myself, Rosie Perez. I love that flick. I think we did some amazing things in that movie.
I think you guys did some amazing things in this movie, too.
Oh, hell yeah. We really brought it. I mean, there were scary scenes that we did here that I was afraid for my life, I got to say.
I remember when Brad was telling me, he's like, I'm trying to make a movie about Pablo Escobar, and I want John to star in it.
Yeah.
Now he was just telling me how it's all come full circle. Talk to me about telling this version of the story from this angle.
Well, it's interesting because this is about the biggest bank bust in American history. 1986, they caught all these greedy banks money laundering Pablo Escobar's money. And so my character goes in through it to the cartel, and Bryan Cranston goes through it to the banks, and together we bring them both down.
Do you think that a Pablo Escobar could exist today?
Of course. Look, don't kid yourself. The cartels and their entrenchment in this country and around the world, it's not going away. And it's not going away because it's an issue of supply and demand. That's a particular point of view that my character shares, and I think it's apt because, you know, it's not an issue of commerce. There's a behavioral component, a neurological component, a clinical component. If in this country, for example, you have millions and millions of people who are addicted to opioids or various forms of different kinds of drugs, that's got to come from somewhere. So as long as that addiction, as long as that sickness, as long as those issues are around, they're not going away.
Dude, this movie is incredible. I know you've had a fascination with Pablo Escobar in his life. Why did you want to take this angle with it?
Leguizamo and I were actually going to make an Escobar movie. For a lot of reasons that didn't come to fruition. Don Sikorski, my dear childhood friend, brought this book to me, and I read it and I knew in my heart this is a movie. I said it was a movie I would want to see. It's a movie I grew up on kind of feeling, and I wanted to evoke that for audiences. And you know, I got to follow my gut. Every time I haven't, I don't land on my feet, and you know, I tried to on this one.
You have one of the best casts you could ever assemble. I mean, Bryan, I've interviewed him 5 times too. The nicest guy, but also one of the most talented. You get a cast like this to work, got to be awesome as a director, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a real family affair for me with my mother, with John, who started my first movie, The Take, in 2007, Cranston from Lincoln Lawyer, Benjamin Bratt, I've known 20 years, Yul Vasquez, 20 years, Diane Kruger and I always wanting to work together. I think I just wanted to put my family together and go to work and see what we ended up with, and The Infiltrator's that, so.
What brings you here tonight to the Infiltrator premiere, Mickey?
I was just curious to see a movie, you know. I'm going to do a couple films with the director, so he asked me if I'd come see this movie.
I've known Bratt a long time. First of all, he's one of the nicest guys.
Yeah, very nice guy.
And he's a talented dude. What draws you to working with someone like him?
I like the material that we're going to eventually be doing together, and I liked him.
You've had such an incredible career, Mickey. When you pick future movies, what do you look for in a movie, in a script?
It depends on the genre, you know, the writing, you know.
What brings you here tonight?
Well, I am very good friends with Mr. Cranston and Mr. Leguizamo, and I try to support anything that those guys do because you know it's going to be quality. And I'm a big Diane Kruger fan. I don't know her that well, but I am a big Diane Kruger fan. Stephen Lange. It's just a mwah cast, and I have some other friends, and so I wanted to really support it. But I mean, anything, John and Bryan especially, they're just delicious. So.
Your impressions are amazing. What's been the one or two that have given you the most joy to do?
Well, I think I used to do Snoop Dogg on Mad TV, and that was always a blast because they're just something like super duper, really stupid crooper. You know what I mean? And when I met him, I met him the day I met him. I was like, oh, my impression's not that bad. But I met him. We were in Pitch Perfect 2 together, and he walked right past me and said, "You a bad, bad boy." I just was like, what is going on?
I'm in Snoop's world now.
It feels really good. It just feels good to do it because it just feels like no matter what you do, you're just about to calm down. It made me kind of fall asleep. So that, and then of course, Jordan and I both do the president, and so it's the same thing. It's like there's a, especially with Obama, there's this kind of mixture of kind of Bill Clinton and MLK mixed together. So it's like eating chocolate,